So, what is the one thing that should define the life of a believer? I mean, that's a huge question, right? Well, today we're going to explore a really powerful answer from the book of Titus, all based on a great study from Central Bible Church. And it boils it down to something that's surprisingly practical, just living a beautiful and effective life.
This right here is the big question. It's what this whole study is really about, and it's probably a question you've asked yourself a few times. What's so amazing is that this ancient text, according to the source, gives us an answer that's incredibly clear and something you can actually do.
And boom, there it is, right at the heart of the whole thing. The study guide points out that a believer's purpose isn't some, mystical, hard to figure out idea. It's this: to be intentionally, carefully devoted to doing good things. And not because you have to, but because it's the natural overflow of understanding God's mercy. Okay, so what does that actually look like in real life? Before we get into all the deep theology, the text starts with some super practical, boots-on-the-ground instructions. This is the what we're actually called to do. Now look at this list. What's kind of wild is how comprehensive it is. It covers our civic duties, how we act towards the government, and then it just blows up to include our interactions with everybody. Be peaceful, don't trash talk people, be considerate. It's basically a blueprint for being a positive force in the world. So, why this big list of instructions? Well, the passage doesn't just throw commands at us. It gives us a really powerful reason why. And that motivation? It's all rooted in this dramatic contrast with who we used to be. This is the why behind the what. Okay, check this out. The source material points out that the original text uses the little word for, and that one word is so important. It means our new way of living is a direct response to our old way of living. And the commentary makes a fantastic point here. Remembering our own past should make us incredibly gentle and considerate toward people who are still stuck there. And this is the picture of that past. And let's be honest, it is not pretty. The text describes this state of being totally lost, controlled by our worst impulses, and just trapped in these cycles of anger and hate. It's a stark reminder of where we came from. And this brings us to the great turning point, the theological engine that makes this whole thing run. It's the massive pivot from that old, dark way of life to something completely new. And it is definitely not something we do on our own. I mean, just look at this comparison. It doesn't get much clearer than that. Look at the opposites. You go from disobedient to obedient, from hating people to being gentle and peaceable. The source really highlights this contrast to show that the new life isn't just a small tweak, it's a complete 180. So here it is, the most important point of all. This transformation isn't something we earned. The text is crystal clear about this. It is not based on our good deeds or how great we are. It is a gift, 100% rooted entirely in God's mercy. That's the foundation for everything else. The passage uses this really powerful image, the washing of rebirth. The study guide clarifies that this isn't talking about a physical ceremony or ritual. It's talking about a deep, internal, spiritual cleansing done by the Holy Spirit. It's about being fundamentally remade from the inside out. And here's another one of those big theological words, justified. The source explains this as kind of like a legal term. It means God declares a person righteous. It's not about us suddenly becoming perfect, but about our legal standing before God being totally changed, all because of His grace. All right, so we've talked about the what, the good works, and the why, God's mercy. So now let's get to the how. How does all this deep theology actually connect to our purpose day to day? Paul tells Titus to stress these things, all that theology we just talked about, mercy and rebirth and all of it. And why? There's a reason. It's so that believers will be careful to devote themselves to doing good. The belief is the fuel for the behavior. The source points to this as the central, actionable purpose for the Christian life. But living out this purpose takes focus. It's so easy to get sidetracked, and the passage knows that. So it gives us some really practical guardrails to keep us on the road and out of the ditch. And here are the ditches to watch out for. These are the kinds of distractions the passage warns us about. The source material calls them unprofitable and worthless. Not because they're necessarily evil, but because they suck up all your time and energy and pull your focus away from the main mission, doing good. The passage also lays out a really clear, structured plan for how to handle people who just love to create division. It's not about instantly kicking them out. There's this patient two-warning process.
But if that person just keeps on being divisive, the instruction is to disengage. You got to protect the community's focus.
So it all comes together right here in this one summary statement from the study guide. It's this simple, powerful sequence. You've experienced God's incredible mercy, and because of that amazing gift, the logical, joyful response is to dedicate your life to doing good for everybody around you. Ultimately, this isn't just about understanding a bunch of theology. The source material really pushes us to apply it personally. After seeing the depth of God's mercy, the real question becomes deeply personal. How does that reality change the way you live, starting today?